What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I guess we have to talk about the Wonder Woman game. Greg Miller comes out of the woodworks and drops, here's the thing. He drops kind of a bomb on us, but upon listening to it, look, is it terrible? I don't know. Originally, when I saw the tweet and I was like, oh dear Jesus Christ, the game's gonna get canceled, what in God's name is WB doing? When you watch the clip, and I'm gonna try to summarize the clip for you, it doesn't seem as bad, but it definitely, and to boil it down, Greg Miller, kind of funny. They're talking about the games that they think will or will not show up during really this week, right? Summer Game Fest, etc. And they get to WB, to which, one of them says, hey, maybe Wonder Woman. And Greg chimes in and talks about how within the last year, and he said that to be ambiguous, within the last year, he has heard that the game is in a troubled state, so he's not holding out hope that it is shown this year. That's what he said. Almost, actually, this is one of the closest times I've gotten word for word from what he said. Now, immediately after, he does say, well, what does troubled state mean? He makes the joke of, nobody's falling through level 4. So even making that joke, it's clearly a joke, and Greg likes to joke, right? But as soon as he kept going and talked about, well, what is a troubled state? And then Andy Cortez chimes in and says, well, look, how many times have we heard about games that are in really bad situations, or they say they were, until the last couple months, then everything falls in place, right? Notoriously, or maybe in a good way, right? The Last of Us is actually a pretty good example. Many people love the first Last of Us game, including myself. And what's been talked about so many times for Naughty Dog for that game is that game came together in the last month or two. And before then, the confidence was rather low. They weren't sure about it. And in the last couple months, it turned into what became a game of the generation, etc., etc. Bottom line is, you might not agree with The Last of Us, whatever, but there are games, to Andy's credit there's plenty of games that have done that, right? So thinking about that, look, hearing the game is in a troubled state is not something you want to hear. It's not. You don't have to hear that. You don't want to hear that for WB. They've been in such a weird spot. You had Suicide Squad, all this shit. You don't really know what's coming from them. And I think even that's what Kind of Funny was talking about. We've talked about that how many times? How many times, guys, on the channel? What are they doing? Where's Quidditch Champions? Where's Wonder Woman? What comes next? Does Rocksteady move off of Suicide Squad onto something else? Where's both games from WB Montreal? What is going on over there? But, you don't want to hear it for Wonder Woman in particular. And, I'm trying to balance it, right? Because it's like, well, how many games truthfully would somebody say about it that it's in a troubled state or it's in a bad shape or whatever? Like, how many actual games on the planet would actually say that a couple years or a year before releasing? I don't know. That's the thing, where it's like, is this normal that games get told that? I feel like the answer is no, although I don't know that for sure. But for the situation that WB is in, for what we're expecting and wanting for Wonder Woman, you don't like to hear. The first time you hear about this game, right, besides job postings that indicate the game might have microtransactions, besides that, the only thing you hear about this game, and it's a leak, it's a rumor, so take it as you will, but the only thing you hear about this game in 2 years is that the game is in a troubled state. You know what I mean? That's why I think it looks bad. If we were hearing all of this stuff, if we were getting all these rumors, if the game sounded like it was going okay, and then maybe they hit a snag and then they get back on it, it's not as big of a deal. But because we've heard a mix of nothing and then seemingly negativity stuff, I'm the one who found the job, that's how that all started, right? So you find the job thing, it doesn't seem very good. They come out and address it, which is fantastic, but we really don't know the kind of game. We hope we know what kind of game it is, but we don't know that for sure. And then now you hear it from Greg that the game is in a troubled state. So I don't know. I don't know what you want to believe. You don't have to believe him. I want to believe the game is still close. I want to believe the game is still coming within the next year. That's what I want to say. That's what I want to keep saying. The longer it goes, the worse it is. We have constantly talked about Monolith with the talent that they have, with what they did with the Middle-earth games, and how in God's name did we get here? And I literally mean, how in God's name has it taken them so long from Shadow of War to this game? I'll never know unless they tell me, but we'll never know. So the longer it goes, what are you supposed to believe? I would say that. I would say that actually without a shadow of a doubt. The longer this thing goes, the more belief I think you can put in that the game is in trouble. Because what else would make it take so long? Now, I think there was something holding it up from the beginning, from year 1, year 2, because something was happening. But now the longer it goes, the more I'm going to believe that something negative is actually happening. So Is it going to be at Summer Game Fest? Well, I highly, highly doubt it, but do I still want it and still think it could be shown before the end of this year, which has been my prediction all year long and actually longer than a year? Yeah, I still actually believe in my heart that the game is going to be shown off at some point in 2024 because I got to believe the game comes out next year. If the game doesn't come out next year, I don't even know what to say. We're going to be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Shadow of War, which, by the way, we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Shadow of Mordor this year. We're going to be celebrating the 10-year for Shadow of War before we get Wonder Woman at this point. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.